Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Ramo Rajamani Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Bihata Nishacharachamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। 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 We were saying the introduction to Mundakopanishad, where we started with this topic. What is the meaning of Prasthanatrayi? Three authoritative sources for Vedanta or for any Darshanika, any school of thought which wants to establish their school of thought. They have to start by explaining what is Upanishad, what is Bhagavad Gita, what is Brahma Sutra. Only when they give perspectives on all three, their darshana is considered valid. Their school of thought is considered to be valid. Upanishad is Upadesha Prasthana, Bhagavad Gita is Sadhana Prasthana, and Brahma Sutra is Yukti Prasthana. Although sometimes we say Upanishad is Shruti Prasthana, Bhagavad Gita is Smruti Prasthana, and Brahma Sutra is Nyaya or Yukti Prasthana. But the word Shruti Prasthana and Smruti Prasthana don't open up much for us. But when you say it is Upadesha Prasthana, means Mahavakya Upadesha will come from Upanishad. How to live my life, that guidance will come from Bhagavad Gita, Sadhana Prasthana. Then the third one is Yukti or Nyaya, Brahma Sutra. Then we also saw what is Upanishad. The subject matter is that absolute truth, Brahman, nature of reality, is the subject matter of Upanishad. meaning there might be several things discussed. We should not miss the main point. Even when we go back to any Upanishad that we have studied before, the lens through which we are looking at that Upanishad should be very focused. How is the truth revealed in different Upanishads? Puja Guruji says, Upanishads are like mirror. To see our true face, to see ourselves, one clean mirror is sufficient. Clean mirror is also important. Huh? Mirror is there, dust is there, we cannot see. Means pure mind along with one Upanishadic study, that itself is sufficient to turn our attention to our true nature. This is the subject matter of Upanishad. But the beauty is, Brahma is not an object. Brahman is not an object. This truth is not an object. So they will reveal it through the method of superimposition and negation. Superimposition and desuperimposition, adhyaropa and apavada. That will be the technique used for revealing this truth. Means you take any Upanishad, it will start with this idea, how did this creation come about? It will start with this idea, how did this body come about, mind come about? But it will not be very systematic, like in the case of Prakarana Granthas. Because these are revelations to Rishis, they will explain it in their own unique way. If you read Upanishad like Aitareya Upanishad, it is said from water, one being was taken up, and that being was called as Virata Purusha. One huge entity emerged from water, that became Virata Purusha. The general idea we have is 5 elements should come. From 5 elements, subtle creation should come. From subtle creation, gross creation comes. Virata comes at gross level. But in Upanishads, they will not follow that sequence. The main point is it came. There are different ways in which it can come. Just like if you have small, small berries in your hand, you throw it up in the air. It can fall in different ways. Every time you throw, the pattern will be different. Like that, creation has come about several times. Every time the pattern can be different. But after doing this adhyaropa, after pointing out that creation has emerged from consciousness, they will say from consciousness standpoint, if you look at it, there is nothing called as creation. This is called as apavada. What remains is that pure self. There is no other method to point out. That's why Kenopanishad Rishi said, Na vidmaha, na vijanimaha. He says, we don't know how to teach other than this method of adhyaropa and apavada. Then we saw some points about Mundaka. Mundaka, the word itself means the one who is shaven, his head. Mundanam means to shave the head, the one who has done it. For that person is this Upanishad, means primarily meant for sannyasis. But the implied meaning there is, hair represents attachment born out of ignorance. The one who is willing to let go, one who is willing to change his thinking and mature along with the teaching, that person becomes fit student of Mundaka. 64 mantras in total, 3 Mundakas. Each Mundaka has 2 chapters. Then we saw the Shanti mantra, Om Bhadram Karnebhihi Shrunuyama Devaha. May we hear good things, may we see good things. Bhadram Pashyema Akshabhihi Yajatraha. Bhagwan, may you ensure that our mind remains sattvic. Sthiraihi Angaihi Tushtuvagum Saha. With a firm body, may we live this life turning our attention towards you. Praying, praising the Lord. May we have a healthy body and live a very fulfilling life. Vyashema devahitam yadayuhu, not asking extension nor early termination. Then different devatas, Swastinaha Indro, Ruddhashravaha, may Indra Bhagwan bless us, may Surya Bhagwan bless us, who is the all-knowing God. Surya Bhagwan, Vishwadevaha. Swastinastarkshaha Arishtanini. May the one who destroys all self-doubt, may the one who destroys all problems in life, Garud Bhagwan, may he bless us. May he become an instrument to take our mind towards the Lord. Swastinaha Bruhaspatihi Dadhatu. May the Guru of Devatas, Brihaspati ji, bless us. I had mentioned that Puja Gurudev in his commentary gives a very beautiful introduction of prayer. I hope all of you had a chance to read it. I just picked a few points from what he has mentioned there. He says prayer is first of all self-invocation. It is not a sign of weakness, but it is invoking the strength. In any facet of life, before starting it, while doing it, and after completing it, one should have this bhavana of invoking the divine. And he gives a very nice example. He says Gopal Iyer is an insignificant member of a big family, troubled by everybody, including his little son. But in spite of all this, when Gopal Iyer wears the dress of a policeman, he is a tyrant for all the goons. Those people who are breaking the rules, he becomes so powerful, he is a tyrant for all of them. So Gurudev asks, what gave Gopal Iyer that strength to go out and do all these things? At home, he was such a tiny person, troubled by so many people. This is invoking that strength which came from wearing the dress. Once he wears the dress of a policeman, he is not Gopal Iyer anymore. The power of that dress comes to that person. Like that, he says, we should wear the dress of prayer. For our mind, invoke that divine to function through this instrument. And that same jiva was tiny little jiva, very small jiva. The strength of Bhagwan comes to that jiva. Strength of Ishvara comes to jiva. That is the first point. Second, he says, it is also invoking the divine to transcend our present limitations. If we read Sadhana Chatushtaya in its true essence, and we look at life of saints, we realize there is long way to go for us even to get Sadhana Chatushtaya sufficient so that we might be able to study Vedanta. You know, in some sports, they have wild card entry. Means without necessary qualification, still a person can enter the ring. So like that, sometimes we get wild card entry for Vedanta. But at the same time, we cannot stop studying. If somebody were to tell us, your sadhana chatushtaya is not sufficient, right now you don't study, then also we cannot sit quietly. Because the desire is there to be a better person. In that struggle between not being there yet, but not being able to let go yet, Gurudev says the support we should take is prayer. That invoking to Bhagwan when we chant the Shanti mantra, that Bhagwan, I know I have many limitations. But in spite of that, please come and bless me such those limitations don't obstruct me in my study and they are removed for good. That is the second thing about prayer, to transcend our limitations and defects in our personality. Sometimes prayer we think we are doing for somebody. This is the first beneficiary of prayer is we ourselves. Then the last one, last point the Gurudev mentioned there is, he says, what is prayer? Prayer is sitting at Lord's feet. This bhavana should come when we chant any Shanti mantra or when we are praying, that I am not sitting in world. I am sitting at Bhagwan's feet. With this bhavana, we should pray. Means simple sadhana here is, there should be some chant, either Hanuman Chalisa, Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama, Shiva Mahimna Stotram, whichever chant connects with us. And that chant should become my way of conversing with God. That chant should become my way of connecting with God, connecting with Bhagavan, and it should have the power to keep our mind slightly above samsara, to keep our mind udasina, 2 inches above samsara, it should remain. But it will only happen when we do it every day. Whichever chant and prayer, if it is done every day, that repeated practice brings Sambandha. Having said this, then he introduces Bhadram Karnevi. But that introduction was very nice. Sometimes we have these questions ourselves or children, Balvihar, they will ask, why do we pray? Should I pray every day? Or can I only pray on weekends? Short prayer and long prayer. I heard there are 2 prayers. Exam days, it is long prayer. Other days, short prayer. Okay, with this, we will enter the Sambandha Bhashya of Mundakopanishad. Just like we did in other Upanishads, like Upanishad and Ishavasya Upanishad. First, we will see the gist of that Bhashya in English. So if somebody says, I have no clue of this Sanskrit Bhashya, don't worry, you are not missing out anything. Whatever is discussed there, we will discuss first in English. Then again, we'll go to Bhashya. That way, the ideas get reinforced. And we also know that what we are discussing is from Shankar Bhashya only. Okay, we'll get the flavor of both. This Sambandha Bhashya, Sambandha means the introductory Bhashya, which tells us what is this text going to talk about. If you broadly divide the Sambandha Bhashya, it has 3 main categories. In the beginning, Bhagwan Shankaracharya talks about how this Upanishad opens. What are the initial mantras? What is the reason why these initial mantras are praising Brahma Vidya? That is the first topic. Then later on, he talks about Anubandhachatustaya. Anubandhachatustaya means what is it that will bind us to this text? Who is the fit student, Adhikari? What is the subject matter, Vishaya? What is the relationship, Sambandha, between me and this text? Between this text and my goal, what is the connection? That Sambandha he will point out. And Prayojanam, what is the purpose for which this text is being studied, that he points out. So that is the second topic. Third topic, he will elaborate about one aspect which is mentioned in Mundaka only, called as Para Vidya and Apara Vidya. Para Vidya and Apara Vidya. Regarding that, he will talk about. And at the very end, he will bring our most favorite topic. Brahma Vidya and Karma cannot go together. Knowledge of the truth and finitude or doership, they cannot be practiced together. But Bhagwan's uniqueness is, he will not repeat anything. that he has said in other places. He says, I have very little time, no repetition. So what he introduced in Kenopanishad, what he introduced in Ishavasya Upanishad, what he introduced in, what he's going to introduce in Mundaka, the topic might be similar, but the way he introduces it is different. Like Brahma Vidya and Karma cannot go together. Every Upanishad he has introduced with this point. Kenopanishad also started with this. Then Ishavasya also, long description was there. Mundaka also will start with the same topic, but he will not repeat it. He will raise a very interesting Purva-paksha. He says, how do you say Brahma Vidya and Karma cannot go together? Let us say there is somebody who got Brahma Vidya. But after that, he got engaged in Karma. And when he got engaged in Karma, let us say he forgot what he studied. Then isn't that a combination happening there? Means he studied Brahma Vidya also, and now he is engaged in Karma also. And this is a question a sadhaka can get. That I have studied Vedanta, I cannot deny this fact that I am Brahma. I've heard, I understand how I am Brahma. But when I am interacting in the world, I tend to forget that I am Brahma. So what is happening here? Isn't there a mix-up happening of Brahma Vidya and Karma? I cannot say I'm totally ignorant. Neither can I say completely realized. That Bhagwan answers using very, very beautiful, precise pointers. 4 topics, Sambandha Bhashya is done. The first one was introduction of the mantras. What are they talking about? Second is Anubandhachatustaya. Third is Para Vidya and Apara Vidya. Fourth one is Brahma Vidya Karma cannot go together. So now let us see the first one. I'll just introduce it, then we will read Bhashya. Bhagwan says, Mundakopanishad begins with Stuti of Brahma Vidya. Stuti means praise. The Upanishad mantras praise the greatness of people who were there in this lineage of Brahma Vidya, the teachers who were there. The first and foremost teacher being Brahmaji himself. He gave this teaching to his son. His son gave this teaching to other people. And finally it reached a rishi whose name was Angiras. Now that Angiras rishi is teaching Shaunaka, who is the student of Mundakopanishad. So Bhagwan says, now there are some commentators on Shankar Bhashya. There is Anand Giriji's commentary. So I will bring those points, but we will not read it. So Anand Giriji, he says, although there are several Upanishads within Atharva Veda, there are 28 Upanishads within Atharva Veda, different ones, Tejo Bindu Upanishad, Amrita Bindu Upanishad, all Bindu Upanishads come in Atharva Veda, many of them. He says, although there are 28 Upanishads, Bhagwan Shankaracharya chose to write commentary on only 3 of them. Prashna, Mundaka, and Mandukya. This is mainly because these Upanishads are most quoted or important for Brahma Sutra. This is based on the frequency, based on the usage in Brahma Sutra. Bhagwan Shankaracharya chose to comment on these 3 Upanishads. The one we are studying is Mundaka. He says if it is Shankaracharya's commentary, then it is very important Upanishad. Important in the sense it will be referred back in Brahma Sutra. Then there is lineage of teachers who are mentioned. These different teachers who became the instruments for this knowledge. Why this lineage is mentioned? He says this lineage is mentioned because a student should not feel this knowledge is being tried on me for the first time. They say that there is something called as Brahma, and if you gain that Brahman, all sorrows come to an end. Does it really happen? Has it happened for anybody? This lineage is to show it has happened for all these people. It's a time-tested solution, time-tested knowledge, not something new which is being taught to us. Second, he says the teachers who are there, lineage of teachers who are there of Brahma Vidya, they were not creators of this knowledge. They only received this knowledge and passed it on in its purest form. So no teacher can claim copyright on any knowledge in Brahma Vidya. They are like dams. Dam doesn't create water. Whatever water comes, it will take, and it will give it in a way that it is beneficial to the people downstream. When it has to give full force, it will open all gates. When there is danger of flooding, few gates will be opened. Just in that way, a teacher receives knowledge from his teacher and will pass it on to his student without any adulteration, without anything else being added in between. He says that is the importance of apaurushayatva. Means Vedanta knowledge is not human intellection. Upanishad knowledge is not created by somebody. It was revelation to rishis, just passed on in this lineage. Another beauty of this point is, in Sanatana Dharma, the origin of Sanatana Dharma is not from a person. In many other religions, the origin could be from an individual. But in Sanatana Dharma, the origin is not from a person. Not even Bhagwan Vedvyasji, not even Bhagwan Shankaracharya. They were the strongest links in this chain. A time had come when the chain would have snapped. So these stalwarts, they were the strongest link who made sure that the chain continued. But they by themselves will not accept this point that we started Sanatana Dharma. Just like mathematics. Nobody invented 2 plus 2. It was already there. It just came into manifestation. Like that, Sanatana Dharma or this truth was revealed to few people. They were not creators of these things. Now Shankaracharya ji goes on to elaborate the importance of Stuti. He says, why does Upanishad praise this Brahma Vidya so much in the beginning? He says, whatever thing we praise, towards that thing we develop reverence. Whatever thing we praise, towards that thing we develop reverence. That reverence brings taste. And once taste comes, effortlessly you can go towards that thing. Whole advertisement industry, marketing industry works on this philosophy. First you see what they will do, praise something. Moment you praise something, taste comes. Adar buddhi comes. And also when they're praising it, they will not get it praised by anybody and everybody. Those who are respectable people, influential people, celebrities, they will use them to praise. If they are using certain product, then other people feel maybe I should also try. Endorsement comes from them, then people also feel like trying it out. Then they don't have to worry much. Once this taste is developed, wherever that product is, this person will find it out. This is in the same way, if you understand or somebody comes to know that great people whom they had reverence for, they studied Brahma Vidya, then naturally they will have this tendency. They will have this taste to Go and inquire what it is. The other thing is, if there are people whom we revere and we see certain qualities in them, naturally we want to know, how did they reach here? How did they become like this? And if they say that they are here because they did sadhana, they studied Brahma Vidya, we revere that person because that person reveres Brahma Vidya, we will end up revering Brahma Vidya. So Shankaracharya says this is the greatness of Stuti. Even when they write books, at the back they have testimonials by great people. If Dalai Lamaji says that this book is, very insightful, then people also feel like buying it or exploring at least what is in that book. This is the reason why Stuti is done. Then once that connection happens, Sambandha is there, then we want to go closer towards that subject matter. But the thing is, we might not know the people who are mentioned in this lineage. Did we know there was a Rishi called as Angiras Rishi? Did we know there was Rishi? There was somebody called as Atharva. We are not familiar with it, but we have to appreciate why that stuti was done. Those who were there in those times, they had understood this knowledge. The famous people at those times had understood this knowledge. Therefore, this stuti is done. The best way for us to relate is life of saints. Those saints we are familiar with. Whenever we see their life, naturally this thought comes, how are they like this? That time we should get inspired through their support, which is Brahma Vidya. Okay, invoking Shankaracharya's grace and blessings, let us read the Bhashya. Om Brahma Devanam Ityadi Atharvanopanishad Asyascha Vidya Sampradaya Kartru Para-Apara Lakshana Sambandham Adau Eva Aha Swayameva Stutyartham Evam Hi Mahadbhihi Parama Purushartha Sadhanatvena Guruna Ayasena Labdha Vidya iti Shrotru Buddhi Prarochanaya Vidyam Mahi Karoti Stutya Prarochitayam Hi Vidyayam Sadaraha Pravarteran Iti Prayojanena Tu Vidyayaha Sadhya Sadhana Lakshana Sambandham Uttaratra Vakshati Bhidyate Hrudaya Grantihi Ityadina. This is the first topic of the Bhashya, which is talking about how the mantras are doing stuti in the beginning. Om Brahma Devanam Ityadi Atharvanopanishad. The Upanishad begins with Brahma Devanam and it belongs to Atharva Veda. Out of the 28 Upanishads which are there, this is one of the Upanishads in Atharva Veda. Asyascha Vidya Sampradaya Kartru Paramparya Lakshana. How does this Upanishad start? It says this Upanishad starts by elaborating the lineage of teachers. Vidya Sampradaya Kartru. Sampradaya Shabda, we have seen the meaning before. Pradhanam means to give. Sampradhanam means to give very well. So that knowledge which is transferred, given very well, that is called as Sampradaya knowledge. It could be knowledge of music, knowledge of any art form, spiritual knowledge. The transfer happens in such a way that it is the purity is maintained. That is called as Sampradaya. Paramparya Lakshana Sambandha Adav Eva Aha. The Upanishad, right in the beginning, will talk about this Sampradaya and the Sambandha. Sambandha between what and what? Sambandha between goal of the sadhaka, what the sadhaka wants, and this Upanishad. What is it that a sadhaka wants? He wants freedom from samsara. He wants freedom from agitations of his mind. Wants freedom from bondage, this notion that I'm always controlled by this world, affected by this world. This notion he wants to get it removed. Now the sambandha between this desire that is there in his heart and the text, that also will be pointed out in Upanishad. Sambandham in the beginning itself, Adav Swayam Eva Sutyartham. Through the Stuti, through the praise, this Sambandha will also be pointed out. Lineage will be pointed out and the relationship will be pointed out. Now, why is this Stuti being done? Bhagavan says, Evam hi, in this way, Mahadbihi Parama Purushartha Sadhanatven. Mahadbi means revered people. Those great people who were there, they considered Brahma Vidya as their Parama Purushartha, supreme most goal in life. And at the same time, they made it as a sadhana. They made Brahma Vidya as the means to reach that Parama Purushartha. And how did they get it? Guruna Ayasena Labdha. With great effort, they put forth effort, lived a disciplined life, and they were able to get this knowledge. One example that comes to mind is during the freedom struggle in India, there were great freedom fighters. Common people knew them for their oratory. Common people knew them for their strength. They knew them for their vision. One example is our Madan Mohan Malviya ji. The amount of institutes he started. Banaras Hindu University, his vision, brainchild. But if you read his work, their heart is in Bhagavad Gita. He says, greater than Bhagavad Gita, I don't know anything. Means imagine how much impact that statement will have on common people. They look up to him as a leader. And if this leader says, my strength comes from Bhagavad Gita, naturally the reverence of Bhagavad Gita in common person's mind will be increased. That is this line. Mahadbihi, revered people, Parama Purushartha. They did not just give this advice of spiritual knowledge for the sake of giving or to just inspire people. They themselves considered it as great. Spiritual goal was very important for them. Parama Purushartha it was. Their goal was not the world. Their goal was Brahman. Sadhanatvena, they considered Brahma Vidya as the means. And at the same time, they worked hard. Means if it is said, have a disciplined routine, then only one can get Brahma Vidya. Now these great people, they didn't say, oh, we are so great, why should we have a good routine? Guruna Ayasena means they also worked hard to follow each and every step which was enjoined for a student, because of which they will get this Brahma Vidya. Guruna Ayasena Labdha Vidya iti Shrotru Buddhi Prarochanaya. When a student hears this, naturally his mind gets inspired. For the sake of this, Vidya Mahi Karoti. For the sake of it, Stuti is done of Brahma Vidya. That these were the people who were part of the lineage, and this was the greatness of this Brahma Vidya. It actually gave them what they were looking for. Vidya always has to live in Vidyavaan, not necessarily Vidwaan. Huh? That discussion we'll do some other time. There is a difference between Vidwaan and Vidyavaan. Vidwaan can be there minus values. Vidyavan is knowledge plus values. When Mahatma Ji would say, that's why in Hanuman Chalisa it is said, Vidyavana Guni Ati Chatura. Hanuman Ji is not Vidwan Guni Ati Chatura. Vidyavan means it should have gunas. So Vidya can be there minus guna also. That becomes Vidwan. Vidya, knowledge plus guna is Vidyavan. That is this praise, Shrotru Buddhi Prarochanaya. Vidyavan, the one who has these qualities. Stutya Prarochitayam hi Vidyayam Sadaraha Pravarteran. Whatever is praised, whatever is considered as supreme by an individual, towards that thing with lot of respect, a person grows closer to it. Vidyayam Sadaraha Pravarteran. Sadaraha means with Mahatva Buddhi. That if I am studying Upanishad, I should have this Mahatva Buddhi. Mahatva Buddhi means I should consider it as important, relevant, and great, such that it will give me what I am looking for. All mumukshus, they go closer towards it. So by this time, the second topic has started now. What was the second topic? Anubandhachatustaya. Now Bhagavan says, Prayojanena tu vidyayaha sadhya sadhana lakshana sambandham uttaratra vakshati. Prayojanena tu. Through prayojana, the sambandha, the relationship between this vidya and prayojana, that is also being pointed out in this Upanishad later. By which mantra? Bhidyate hrudaya grantihi chidyante sarva samshayaha. Means when this knowledge is understood, when attention shifts to the self, all the knots of the heart are cut asunder. Means the ignorance which is there, that is the biggest knot. Thinking myself to be this jiva, that is the strongest knot. And all the small knots, different things about this world, confusion which comes, all of that is removed through this knowledge. He says that is the sambandha between this text and my prayojanam. What was my prayojanam? Absolute cessation of sorrow. And this is my relation with that goal or prayojanam that I have. Study of Upanishad will actually take me there. Puja Guruji, during Vedanta Ramanam, he said out of the 4 things in Anubandhachatustaya, Adhikari is easy, at least to understand what is Adhikari. Vishaya also we know, Jiva Brahma Aikya. Prayojanam also we know, Atyantika Dukha Nivrutti. The most difficult Anubandhachatustaya is Sambandha. To appreciate and also to internalize it. That what I am looking for is happiness, and I have tried seeking it in the world. Only when I get disappointed by all other means will I come wholeheartedly to Upanishads. And Bhagavan has made this world such. No matter where a person goes, he will be sent back here only. Fourth chapter, Bhagavan said, Mama Vartmanu Vartante, Manushya Partha Sarvasha. Everybody is walking. You might feel they are walking towards the world. He says, don't worry, they are all walking towards me only. Because I have kept disappointments in such a way that wherever they get hit, they have to turn around and come here. Either in this Janma or in future Janmas. Sanatan Dharma, we are in no rush. We don't say there is any need to hurry. You say, you keep walking. Wherever we get hit, that is a message from Bhagwan to turn within. The Upanishadic example is of a bird which is sitting on a pole on a ship in the middle of an ocean. Suddenly this bird feels it's so boring to sit here. Let me explore, let me go find something more exciting to do. Goes around, flies and flies, gets tired. Does not find even one place where it can land. Finally, it comes back to that same pole. Like that, this Upanishad says, our mind is one with Brahma. In deep sleep, mind dissolves in consciousness. But the moment it wakes up, it flies off. With this idea that it will get joy. With this idea that it will get happiness. No matter where it goes, it cannot find lasting happiness. Then finally it has to come back to same Atma Tattva. Once this is understood, our Sambandha with Upanishad will grow stronger. Our connection with Upanishad will grow more deeper. If you go to a bookstore, Barnes and Nobles, let us say, there are so many titles. Fiction is there, history is there, self-help, philosophy, humor is there. Now a person walks into that bookstore, what decides which book he will pick? What is his ruchi inside? What is his taste? What is he looking for? If he's looking for self-help book, 80% books might be fiction, non-fiction, all other kinds of things. But he will go and focus just on that section. Within that, if he's looking for tips on meditation, out of those self-help books also, he will pick only meditation book. Means his sambandha will get formed with that book based upon his interest inside. What is he looking for? So the one who is looking for absolute peace, absolute bliss, once he understands that Upanishad will reveal it to me, then he has Sambandha with Upanishad. If you want a simple definition of Sambandha, it is, you can call Sambandha as that place where my desire will get fulfilled. That altar where my desire will get fulfilled, I will have Sambandha with that altar. Once I feel this thing is not giving me what I want, then the Sambandha also drops with that thing. So time and again, not only should we keep studying Upanishad, but also focus on why am I studying Upanishad? I want bliss and happiness. I want sorrows to end in life. How is this Upanishad going to give me that? By revealing nature of that truth, which is always aparoksha. Okay, with this, the first topic is completed of Sambandha Bhashya. Two topics are completed. First one was why Stuti is done. Stuti is done so that Ruchi comes in our heart and we effortlessly go towards this knowledge. Why is lineage described? If we know that great people read this knowledge, considered this knowledge as supreme, we will also feel inspired to walk this path. Then the Anubandhachatustaya part is mentioned, where it is said the main thing to pay attention to is Prayojana and Sambandha. Sambandha between this text and the Prayojana, which is my purpose that is going to get fulfilled. Little bit of Anubandhachatustaya will come in the next portion also. I just divided this topic so that it is easy for us to grasp this Sambandha Bhashya. The next topic is about Para Vidya and Apara Vidya. This is also an interesting topic. The Upanishad flows like this. Shaunaka Maharshi, he is the student, he comes and asks a simple question. Kasminnu bhagavad vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati iti. What is it knowing by which everything becomes known? Question sometimes also interesting, difficult to understand. When I was in Colorado, I used to go to one Hindu temple there. And the Panditji there would give pravachan on Kathopanishad. Temple crowd is different generally. The pravachan and all is not very popular there. So he said one line which always stays with me. Kathopanishad is one text where you might study the answer for 3 years, but still you will have a doubt what was the question. Means what did Nachiketa ask? That question itself doesn't become clear. Answer becomes clear. Is it like that? Our Shaunak Maharshi, he asks this question, Kasminnu bhagavo vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati iti. Question we'll discuss later when it comes. But the answer given is interesting. Angiras Rishi doesn't directly say, no Brahman, having known Brahman, everything becomes known. Why doesn't he say that? Because we are experts in objectifying. So he answers by introducing another topic. He says, Shaunak Maharshi, your question is good. But let me tell you, there are two types of knowledge. One is called as Para Vidya, another is called as Apara Vidya. And first he elaborates what is Apara Vidya. Para Vidya means knowledge of Supreme. Apara Vidya means knowledge of material world. Everything other than Brahma Vidya, that is Apara Vidya. Para means Supreme. Apara means everything other than that Supreme. Material knowledge. And first he elaborates what is Apara Vidya. Then he points the limitations of Apara Vidya and starts elaborating Para Vidya. So this division is very unique to Mundaka Upanishad. Para Vidya and Apara Vidya. So Bhagavan elaborates here what is the difference between both of them. If Shankaracharya's Sambandha Bhashya is such, he will give it in a nutshell. Then when you look at the topic, the mantras, that will be elaboration. So you can make two columns, Para Vidya and Apara Vidya. He says, what are the differences? First difference is, Para Vidya is independent of karma. Karma nirapeksha it is. To know the self, to abide in the self, we don't need any action. Knowledge alone will give us a result. That is the first point. And what is Apara Vidya? He says Apara Vidya is that where after knowing, you have to do something. You take any Apara Vidya, take medicine or engineering, for example. If I have learned how to build a bridge, unless I build it, the fulfillment of knowledge is not there. unless I actually build it, means apply that knowledge in karma. The knowledge doesn't fulfill itself. There is no, the benefit of that knowledge is not accomplished fully. That is the insignia of Apara Vidya. Para Vidya, just knowledge alone is sufficient to give result. Knowing that other than Brahma, all conditionings are an appearance. This conviction alone will take us to the goal. We don't need any action to support this knowledge. Then the second point he says, Brahma Vidya is to be understood as it is. Mahavakya is there. Just understand that Mahavakya. Para Vidya is like this. Whereas Apara Vidya, it is filled with Vidhi Pratisheda, do's and don'ts. Do this, don't do this. In Brahma Vidya or Para Vidya, there is no Vidhi Pratisheda. There are no do's and don'ts. It is not some action where guidance will be given. Do this, don't do this. It is just knowledge. Understand nature of a thing as it is. Means fire is hot. There is no Vidhi Pratisheda there. It's just knowledge. But if you tell don't touch it, then there is Vidhi Pratisheda. How to interact with that fire, there are do's and don'ts which are being told here. This is the second difference, that Apara Vidya is filled with do's and don'ts, Vidhi Pratisheda. Third one is very important. He says, to remove samsara, out of these two Vidyas, only Para Vidya is capable. Only Para Vidya can remove samsara. Apara Vidya can give a lot of abhyudaya. It can give a lot of prosperity outside. But it doesn't have the ability to remove samsara for good. Why is it? See, whatever we are studying in other texts will help us here. Saddarshanam, we should connect with this point. In Apara Vidya, the first thing which is negated is ahankara. First thing which is targeted is our ego. And in Apara Vidya, the one who is learning, the one who is gaining all these things and feeling good that I learned Apara Vidya, that is this ahankara. Means no Apara Vidya will question ahankara. No Apara Vidya will challenge the one who is knowing it. I can become a very good engineer, very good doctor. But who is the one who has become engineer and doctor? Who is the one who knows engineering and medicine? That thing is not discussed in that subject matter. Whereas Brahma Vidya or Para Vidya, even if ahankara gained Brahma Vidya, that ahankara itself will be questioned and negated. That point is clear, right? Who gains Brahma Vidya? Not Atma, neither body. This ahankara which is there, that is a sadhaka. That sadhaka gains Brahmakara Vritti, clarity of knowledge. But having gained it, it does not say, I know Brahman. Having gained it, it gets this conviction that I am Brahman. Means I don't have independent reality. What is real is Brahma. This ahankara is an appearance. This point has to keep getting repeated. And last point he says, the means for attaining both are different. If somebody wants Para Vidya, the means for attaining it is Vairagya. Means for attaining it is grace of the Guru, Guru Prasada Labhya. And if somebody wants Apara Vidya, then the means is another material thing. Material thing will bring Apara Vidya. Para Vidya comes through Vairagya. So he says all these points are mentioned so that we know who is the Adhikari and what is the Vishaya. You see Bhagwan's beauty, huh? How he is introducing topic of Adhikari and Vishaya. Prayojana Sambandha he just spoke previously. Now he is introducing who is Adhikari. To introduce Adhikari, he says there are two types of people or two types of knowledge, Paravidya and Aparavidya. Both will have different Adhikaris. Adhikari means one who is desirous of knowing, one who is fit to know. The Adhikari for Paravidya has Vairagya. And Adhikari for Aparavidya has some desire. And within desires, there might be a spectrum. That is not the topic of discussion. It is just to show that these two are different Adhikaris. One who has strong desire for the world cannot simultaneously have strong desire for God. One who has strong desire for gaining something of this world cannot have equally strong desire to gain Bhagwan. This is Adhikari of Paravidya is different. Adhikari of Aparavidya is different. So Adhikari is pointed out and Vishaya. The topic of Paravidya is different. Topic of Aparavidya is different. Okay, so this is the third topic. And after that is the topic of Jnana Karma Samuchaya. But the Jnana Karma Samuchaya topic will open up many things as far as our Jnana Nishtha is concerned. Jnana Nishtha means sometimes we feel I study Vedanta, but it doesn't stay with me. It doesn't stay with me. What should I do? That point will be discussed here. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. I hope all of you are getting familiar with Bhashya. Those of you who are new, feel free to let me know if you need any, if I need to slow down or anything we discuss in the class doesn't become clear. If you write it in the chat right away, then I can take it up at the end. But otherwise, one quick announcement regarding the Shiva Mahimna Stotram booklet that we came up with for Thanksgiving camp. The discourses are there online, but those who want to follow the discourses along with the booklet, every verse has word by word meaning. The Sandhi split, Anvaya. Anvaya means rearranging of words, and the English translation of it. There are very few copies before they run out. Those who want can get it from our bookstore. There is one question here. The Rishis' names that we are going to discuss, why have they become lost in time after Satya Yuga? Though names like Bhagwan Krishna, Bhagwan Rama are given to children commonly today, is there a deeper reasons other than preference? You know, one good thing by which the main Rishis' names are still available to us is because of Gotra. We have this Gotras, and whenever people do Abhivadaye, the symbolic meaning is that one is to acknowledge that I am a person walking on the path of Dharma. And one of the fundamental things about Dharma, Sanatan Dharma, is Punarjanma. If I say I belong to this Gotra, means what? This is not my first life. I've had several lives before, starting from this Rishi. And through several Janmas, there is samskara which has happened. So people keep Rishi names also, but not very common. This people say even for languages like Sanskritam. They say, "Oh, where is Sanskritam today? Why did it get lost after passage of time?" He says, "Wherever there is demand, there is supply. If we really feel for the cause, we have to commit time, resources, energy to actually revive it and study it. And the best way to protect Sanskritam is to study Sanskritam. So the best way to protect Brahma Vidya is to study Brahma Vidya, to know those rishis, to know their names, and also the work that they did. Okay. All right. Hari Om.